Peace, everybody. Welcome to the VOTAL HOOPS Podcast. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB. I'm your host. This is episode number 23. We got an amazing guest today in the building. Now, our guest is a sound shaman. He's a recording artist. He's a muse and a consultant. He is one half of the duo W2TL. Welcome to the limit with the brother Devon Lee, aka Buttermilk, and he is the longtime DJ of the great legendary Everything is Political hip hop duo Dead Prez. He's originally from Chicago, but he currently lives in Miami, and his work speaks for himself. It's an honor to have him on the show. Please welcome Mikeflo, aka Masud Asante. Mikeflo, peace, my brother. Welcome to the VOTAL HOOPS Podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm stronger than ever, man. Thank you for inviting me. How you?
I'm doing great, my brother. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. So let's get to it, man.
Yeah.
Yo, talk to me a little bit about you, man. And I want to know a little bit about, I know you're a hooper too, man. I want to know a little bit about, how you grew up, how you started playing ball, how you got into music, you know what I mean? And if that maybe intertwines hip hop and all of that, man. So talk to me a little bit about that.
I'm from South Side of Chicago. I grew up in Chicago during the Jordan era, you know what I mean? So
yes, sir.
Like, from the draft, like I watched Chicago. I watched all the kids stop playing baseball and start playing basketball. I grew up in the heart of that, which was a great time to be alive. If you play basketball, even if you didn't play basketball, it was a great time to be alive, to witness that, to see Michael Jordan on a random Tuesday night, on your local television, you know what I mean? Was crazy. From there, I ended up going to college, and then in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Did that for some years, moved back to Chicago, became a school teacher, and then moved back to Atlanta because I wanted to do Atlanta as an adult.
Okay.
And Chicago was cold in the winters, and I was like, yeah, I got to get out of here. What was I thinking? And then I felt like over time I kind of needed more growth. So I moved from Atlanta to Brooklyn, New York, which was a huge blessing. And then last year I moved to Miami Beach. I am, like I said, a retired school teacher. I am a 21-year cancer survivor, says Western medicine.
Word.
I'm a DJ. I'm a recording artist. I've been with Dead Prez as a DJ for 18 years now. Aside from them, I do my solo stuff. I have 12 studio albums right now.
Wow.
I do a lot of things. I still play ball, and moving down here to Miami Beach has been crazy, really dope, because the parks are so nice and clean, and you got glass backboards, lights at night. Like if this was in Chicago, my little local parks would be where they would have tournaments, you know what I'm saying? But this is just random over here.
Just a regular court, just where people be hooping. Nice.
Yeah. So I love it, man. So that's my current life. I'm an avid cyclist. I ride my bike a lot. I paint. And I'm a multidisciplinary artist and avid sports fan and current hooper.
That's what's up, man. We're going to get into that a little later, man. We're going to get into your music and your art, man. I've been following all that, man. I'm a fan, man. So
thank you, G.
No doubt. But yo, talk to me a little bit. Did you play high school ball, or was you just playing street ball, or?
Yeah, I played high school ball.
Okay.
And was gonna play college ball, actually, but the school that I went to, the program at the time when I got there, was kind of in shambles. They were in between coaches, and I was just, by then I was like, I had dreams of like going to the league or nothing, but I just like, yo, it's hip hop, it's girls, it was just other shit going on. My college was super lit. And so
Yeah.
I just gave that up. And I started coaching AAU, and then I coached girls varsity at a high school. And but I stopped playing. I stopped playing like, organized and,
organized. Yeah,
and
no doubt.
collegiate. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But that coaching stuff will mess you up, man. I went through a similar thing, man. Because coming out of high school, I went to high school in Jersey, but coming out of high school, I had crazy hoop dreams, you know what I mean? But so I ended up playing pro over here in France, but anyway, coming out of high school, I was only getting mainly letters from D3s. I only had D3s recruiting me, and I was like, nah, I could do better than that, man. I wanted to go at least D2. So I'm gonna go to JUCO. I was like, I'm gonna go to JUCO for a couple of years, you know what I mean, and then try to get a ride to like a good D2 school or something like that. And then I ended up talking to a coach. Same thing. I was trying to get away from the cold a little bit, so I want to go to Florida. You know what I mean? So I went to Palm Beach Community College. I was talking to a coach. Everything was smooth. But when I got there, coach got fired, man. So it was like a whole new coaching staff.
Yeah.
And coach is like, I got a full roster. I got my guys coming in. You know what I mean? So I couldn't even hoop that year. So I had to, it was crazy. So then I had to get out, and I ended up in Michigan, man. So I ended up having to go to Michigan. That's where I played college ball at Concordia University, NAIA school. But anyway, man.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, that led you to France, so
yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. So yo, let's get into this thing, man. Yo, first of all, I want to tell the listeners, yo, if get on Instagram right now and follow the brother Mikeflo, because his page is interesting, and he got this community service, which is what we're gonna get into right now. You know what I mean? So it's at Mikeflo_official, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So go follow the brother. And okay, so let's talk about this community service. You know, I've been checking that out. It's really dope. Where Mikeflo, where you give a perspective on whatever goes through your mind, pretty much whatever you go through in life or whatever's happening.
Yeah.
And then so recently, you had a episode where you were talking about unplugging from the holiday season, right? So that was just now in last month in December. So just so I don't mess it up, man, tell the people a little bit about what that was about a little bit, and so we can get into.
So I've been saying this to some of my close and intimate loved ones. Shit, man, probably about 15 years now. But I kept it, just personal between us, just my ideas, and we would bop around ideas. My whole thing was, I grew up and still am. I'm Black nationalist. I taught school at a Pan-African school. I was Baba Mike to the Watoto. Okay. And, we would celebrate Kwanzaa, but I always felt like it ended up being like the antithesis of Christmas. And if it was going to authentically be that, then why should it be celebrated at the same time? And it ends up, in my observation and experience, ended up looking and feeling like the Hotep Christmas. So I was like, yo, and I was in Chicago at the time, and I'm like, man, it's super cold here. We don't do, we have Black August celebrations, but I feel like August is a powerful month in the United States for Black power. Then why don't we just, pull, if we want to celebrate the principles of Kwanzaa, the Nguzo Saba, the virtues of Ma'at, and all these things, then why don't we get back to more of our indigenous selves and the freedoms that we explore and celebrate in warmer climates and at warmer times. And so that's one thing, to get to separate it from the Christmas thing, but then also, and realizing how much money we spend between the months of November to February is crazy. You know, at the time, I think it was like $500 billion of spending power. And so much of it was amassed during those months. Right. So my thing was, you know, that's a lot of leverage. If you are spending that much money in a capitalistic society, then why don't you value your leverage? But you have to know you have the leverage. So I said, we take our money out during that time and practice what's called an economic sanctions. That may give us some that may give us some leverage to do some other things that we want to do, and to see the power of what we can do, and who knows what can happen from that. But just with Kwanzaa, I felt like, yo, we celebrated that in August, it'd just be more lit. Right. It'd just be better. You know what I'm saying? For real. So that's where it came from.
I agree, man. Yo, the first of all, I feel like as African people, you know, we need to always be careful living in these, you know, capitalistic systems. Always be careful how we spend our money. You know what I mean? How we spend our money, where we put our money, because that's very important. So when we spend our money as well, that's what we're getting into now, and that makes sense, man. Another thing that you touched on is, like, you know, a warmer climate. When it gets warmer outside, that's when we're at home. You know what I'm saying? That's when we feel good, because, you know, we're children of the sun. You know what I mean? So no doubt, I agree with that as well, man. The one thing though where I was thinking, like, yo, it'll be difficult, is that I started celebrating Kwanzaa only 2 years ago, right? So I have two children. And that's mainly why I started celebrating Kwanzaa, because I wanted my seeds to get, you know, it's a good way for the children to get into, you know, our African culture, and you know what I mean? So I was like, yo, let's do that. I spoke to my wife, and she was down with this, some, you know, research. My wife and I were Afro-Cuban, right? So we didn't grow up celebrating Kwanzaa or nothing, but so we started celebrating Kwanzaa. And the thing that I see is that, you know, throughout the month of November and December, it gets tough for kids. You know what I'm saying? What I mean is, like, in our society, it gets tough because, you know, it starts getting cold. You know what I mean? And, like, they know that. That's why they come up with all these holidays and things to make people spend money and everything. So I feel like they're seeing their friends go through Christmas and everything, and at least they know, you know, that during Christmas sometimes we get together with the rest of the family, but we don't really celebrate Christmas as such. But they know Kwanzaa is coming up, so they get excited about Kwanzaa. You know what I mean? So if they had to go through the whole winter without a holiday, I feel like it would be kind of tough for them, especially for children, and even for us adults. Sometimes, like, we got to go through the winter, and Kwanzaa may, you know, help us refocus, recenter. That's the good part I see about it, about celebrating it in December. You know what I mean? But nah, I agree with you that August is our month. You know, it's Black Power Month, and it would be very powerful to have it to celebrate it throughout August.
Can I speak to what you just mentioned about your children?
No doubt.
You know, I see the awareness of that, and not even a concern, but I see where, you know, how that can affect. It's kind of like, I remember when my children were growing up, and my kids are grown now, 23 and 21 years old. But they grew up at the time when we had them, we were vegan, right? And they grew up vegan. And then they go to, like, but all their friends, some, but not all of them, were vegan. And then they go to a birthday party and say it's a birthday cake or pizza or whatever. And, you know, the kids feel enticed, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe you send them to the party with their own little snacks and stuff to eat, but then they still get enticed, and then they, you know, they want to eat the birthday cake. But there lies an opportunity, because if we don't address that in the impressionable years of our youth, these youth grow into impressionable adults. There will always be someone doing something that may seem appealing to you, that that may look inviting, and you may have the FOMO, that you're going to miss out on that. But there lies the opportunity for the adults, for the parents, to give the opportunities and to provide the experiences for the children to feel like they're not missing anything in their life. The Kwanzaa is centered around the Nguzo Saba, which is an everyday practice.
No doubt.
But
in
in reality, what happens is we romanticize these things, and we because we have become inundated with the idea of holiday, that this needs to be a special time, and we put that time over here and this month and that, and it's really taken away from the actual principles. So if you were celebrating yourself and your culture and really embodying yourself every day, then you wouldn't feel the angst in around certain times of the year. So what would happen, just to wrap that point up, what would happen with my children felt satiated and satisfied with their own current diets at home. And so, but what would happen was especially with my daughter, who's a foodie, she would go to the parties and she may have some, and then she come back and maybe she's dealing with some mucus or whatever. And then she was able to learn the inputs and outputs. Like, you know what? I don't feel well when I do that. It felt like something I wanted to do, but in turn, it wasn't something that I needed and wanted to do for myself. So then the parents didn't have to, quote unquote, police that. She was able to make her own informed decisions based on her own information gathering and research for herself. And that's what you want as an adult. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So they may be like, yo, the other kids was doing the Christmas thing and we tried it, but based on what they know, they like, yo, we asked them and they don't even know what they're doing and why they should. And your kids will start picking that off. Like, I'm cool. You know what I mean? But you got to give them the opportunity. So, and it's an opportunity for the adults to learn more and to find different and better ways to communicate with the children and strengthen the bond of your family principles, so that anytime they go anywhere out in the world and they're around any cultures or whatever the hell they're doing, they're not so easily swayed.
Right. No doubt, man. Yo, listen, it's crazy that you say that, because I'm kind of going through the same, because we are vegan and my kids are vegan as well. You know what I mean? So my son is going through that. But see, my son, he's already 7, and now he kind of knows. Like he knows. He don't kind of know. He knows when he goes, he can eat. He eats at school and he knows what not to eat. You know what I mean? He's like, nah, I don't want to eat this. I don't eat the meat. You know what I mean? I don't want the cheese. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But my daughter, she's still young. She's 3, right? So I'm amazed at how much candy they give to these kids, man. So she always come home with some fucking candy. And I'm like, nah, this is milk in it. Nah, don't eat that. This is, you know what I'm saying? This chemical stuff. Don't eat that. So, but she still, it's hard for her. But usually what I try to do, and what my wife and I do, is like, we usually, like, if they'll have like, it's like a kid's birthday at school, right? So my son is like, yeah, I didn't have cake because I know it's not vegan. So, you know what I mean? So sometimes at home I'll be like, okay, I'll bake a vegan cake, man, at the crib. So you can, you know what I mean? So you can have
that.
No doubt. You know what I'm saying? But I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
I feel what you're saying. No doubt.
Opportunity. That's all.
That's dope, man. We need to elaborate on that, on the whole moving Kwanzaa, man. We gotta start the movement, man.
I'll play my part in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody use their own skills and passions, and we can move that. It really wouldn't be difficult, to tell you the truth. If you get key people.
That's the thing. People that can influence
it wouldn't be. It's not a hard sell at all. In fact, it would end up being like, because there are people who, I put to you like this, the way I foresee it, there'll be people who still want the holiday thing, and they'll do it then. And then they'll also do it in August.
Word.
And then you'll end up phasing it out, because the August celebration will be, it'll trump, for lack of a better term. Right. It will be way better than the winter celebrations.
Yeah,
how come we can't have two?
That's right. Because like you said, it should be a year-round practice anyway, so we can reinforce it. You know what I mean? Totally. In August, and that'll be dope. Yeah,
that'll be fly. Yeah.
Word. Yeah. All right, man. So yeah, no doubt. So okay, I wanted to speak a little bit about, I see, like, when I watch your community service, I see you speak a lot about reinforcing our, African culture and indigenous values. You know what I mean? And I go through the same thing. I talk about that a lot. And, with my wife, we speak on that as far as, raising our children and trying to not get sucked into the, Western culture too much. We know we live in it. So either way, we're going to pick up. I mean, we speak these languages and you know how it is, but we still got to have a core base, and, be in touch with our ancestors and everything. So I think it's very important. But I'm saying this to say that recently, I mean, it wasn't that recent, it was about a year ago, but it, resonated with me. We seen J.R. Smith, he got onto a podcast, right? And he spoke about that with these brothers, and it's not common to see that like on mainstream podcasts or mainstream TV, you know what I mean? And J.R. Smith, he was like, yo, we need to get back to more of a Eurocentric mentality. More of an Afrocentric mentality, getting away from the me, Eurocentric, mentality about everything me, everything personal, and, grow together. So when he spoke about that, I thought it was interesting because he gave a few examples, and because I know, athletes and entertainers are usually caught up in the matrix, to be honest, you know what I mean? But
totally,
you know what I mean? But they're very influential people. So when they do have a certain level of consciousness and they're spreading a certain message, it gets very interesting because people listen to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if you saw that clip of J.R. Smith, but I wanted to know your opinion on that and what you.
Well, I feel like, first of all, salute to J.R. Smith because I had to move my phone. Is this okay?
Yeah, you good.
Salute to J.R. Smith because, and I will first say that first because J.R. Smith is a free thinker, and J.R. Smith has a tremendous amount of courage to try new things. He went back to college just because that's what he wanted to do. He went to a Black college and joined the golf team because that's what he wanted to do.
And he's nice.
And he's nice. You know what I'm saying? So salute to anyone, and especially him, who is has maintained the freedom of their mind. You know what I mean? To not be relegated to what you're supposed to be, says someone else. Okay. So shout to him for that. But yeah, what he's saying is spot on, is that I feel like at the end of the day, it comes down to the feeling. I say this to everybody. We do everything we do so we could feel good, right? People strive to amass billions of dollars, millions and billions of dollars so that they can feel good. Now imagine if they could supersede, and so they get the money so they can buy the things that's supposed to yield them feeling good. So imagine if you could get right to the feeling without all of the things, right? And you would feel great, and you wouldn't be, the pressures of you wouldn't be on you to amass all of this quote unquote wealth, right? When you are no longer a slave to that paradigm, then you can free yourself up and say things that you really feel. You don't have to no longer be censored, you know what I mean? Or censored yourself, because that's what we do. We censor ourselves for the fear that someone else may take the carrot that they've been dangling in front of us. They may take that away, and then we're not going to feel good about that. So what he is saying is like, yeah, there have been many athletes that are like, oh, we can pull our money together and blah, 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 and start our own league and we can do this and we can do that. Yeah. One, he was saying that while he was out of the league, because he's out of the league.
Yeah.
But there were athletes that were saying that when they were in the league. But the thing is, nobody wants to go through the adversity of potentially not feeling good for those little momentary moments in time. So no one wants to go through the barrage of questions from the media. No one wants to keep answering the same questions over and over. No one wants to miss those paychecks, even though they're already filthy rich.
Filthy rich.
No, but they, in their minds, they feel like they need those paychecks. So it's crazy because we don't make millions and millions of dollars. So we think, what are you talking about? You got that.
Yeah.
But in their minds, remember, something has to keep the hamster on the wheel.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the game would be real. Okay. So you can't just get in the league, play 10 years, get $250, $60 million contracts, and then just ride off and become a Black Power spokesman. No, you can't. They ain't gonna allow you to do that in that paradigm, in that mind frame. So I just feel like the answer, just to streamline this, the answer is in these athletes educating themselves on more struggles that are won in the essence of Black Power and nationhood, because that's what it is. They don't see that. They haven't studied that. So what they see does not seem, one, attainable, and it does not seem profitable. They've seen loss, they've seen jail, they've seen death, they've seen rape, pillage. They haven't seen victory because they've never studied victory. They don't know. They may know, like, oh, well, they don't, like, for instance, the British strive to occupy Kenya, right?
The Mau Mau struggle.
Right. But they know Kenya today, and they know Kenya is a part of East Africa, and they see Kenya as poor, right? But they ain't even been to Kenya to see, okay? First of all, but the Associated Press and the media show you as Africa is poor, and who wants to be associated with poor, because that don't feel good, right?
Exactly.
But if they studied that, okay, the Brits had to back out of Kenya because the Mau Mau revolution and Jomo Kenyatta and whatever, like, then they would say, man, okay, well, that's something that we were able to prosper, and we may have lost comrades, but they didn't want to lose comrades either, so they had to pull out. There are many wars won across the world in imperialism, but we romanticize victory also. So, if it's not gargantuan and it's not celebrated in the Associated Press, then we don't see those victories and we assume that they don't happen. So but these athletes have just been playing ball their whole life, and they don't, many don't really study. That's why when someone like Kyrie Irving posts something about a movie he's seen or a book that he's read, it's like, oh my gosh, news breaking, because they don't see the athlete as a warrior scholar. They don't see the athlete as anyone who can be a free thinker for himself other than for the owner of the team. So what J.R. Smith is saying is spot on. It's just that they're not enough athletes with the courage that would take. But again, change and revolution means change, and change begins with you. And so I also want athletes to stop romanticizing revolution, because if you change yourself first, you never really realize how much of an impact you have on other people. Because maybe his message wasn't for LeBron James. Maybe his message is for a young J.R. Smith in Jersey, in Newark, that sees that, and maybe that person is influential and with his friends and his circle, and maybe that starts another conversation, and maybe one of those friends is super nice and ball. You know what I mean? That's how things really happen. Everybody wants to win the Super Bowl, but if you don't treat Tuesday's practice like the Super Bowl, you won't even make the playoffs. So yeah, salute to J.R. Smith and any other free thinking artists and athletes out here in the world.
No doubt, Kyrie. Salute to Kyrie too, man.
Yeah, salute to Kyrie.
But listen, I think you spot on, man. But I feel like, political education, man, is very important, and a lot of our brothers and sisters are lacking it. Also, we went through a whole phase as a society of depoliticizing the masses. You know what I mean? So that's what happened. And then I feel like, also I see a lot of people today selling, financial stability or financial wellness as collective liberation, which I feel like is a problem. You know what I mean?
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's important. We have to be for, being financially stable or starting a business or doing something like that. But we can't confuse that with collective liberation, and the liberation struggle of our people, because then that becomes a problem and it becomes disrespectful to our ancestors, and it becomes, you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people also, what happens is also that, we haven't truly seen collective freedom as such. And so, a lot of people get confused quickly and they think that, this is liberation. They're getting a couple dollars or they're living good. And, you know what I'm saying? So I feel that's part of the issue as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the Western world wants every man to feel like he's an island. And I spoke on this the other day in my last episode of Community Service about people caring and how we have been conditioned to think that, nobody cares. Fuck that. Do the work.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Nobody cares. And that's on purpose. The linear Eurocentric mind state and paradigm says, be by yourself. Capitalize your name, your proper noun. Be because if too many people start thinking communal, then they'll start coming up with think tanks and solutions and so on and so forth. So it's more profitable for the establishment to push this agenda that you should not care and you should just worry about yourself and pull yourself up by your own bootstraps.
Exactly.
And so someone gets money and then it lives and dies right there. You know what I mean? And if someone does something, here's another thing, and this is key. When, in this society, when someone gives, they feel like they're doing a favor for someone. Now, see, that's because we don't see ourselves in each other. If I give to you, I don't feel like I'm doing a favor for you if I see me in you, right? Then I'm just adding on to the collective growth. But if I don't see myself in you, then I'm just doing you a solid. I'm doing you a favor, and then there's no staying power in that. So then when I don't feel like doing that, then I don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. That makes sense.
That's key. That's key right there.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. And like the value, that we put into also, once we start, like you said, once we start coming together and seeing things more as a community, if we start valuing or putting so much value onto certain materialistic things, then that becomes dangerous for the system as such.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because then,
absolutely,
you know what I'm saying? That's how they want us. They want us valuing the thing. They want us wanting the yacht and the mansion and the, the American dream. Once we're like, yo, I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? In order to fulfill my life, my heart, our community, what do we truly need? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, it's like, not to cut you, but just to add on, right? You talk about the needs, right? And what we feel like we need. but that's the basis of this system. This capitalism, and I said this countless times, but I'm saying it on your podcast. Capitalism is about a tremendous amount more of have-nots than haves, right? But here's the difference. The have-nots have to be willing to die at the chance that they may get an opportunity to sit at the table with the haves. So it's not really about money. It's about the appearance of capital, because the appearance of capital yields a feeling, going back to that, that you have arrived, that you have made it. So like when Sway was talking to Kanye years ago, and Kanye in recent times had to be like, Sway, you did have the answers. But what Sway was trying to communicate to Kanye, Kanye couldn't get with that, because that's not the feeling that he was trying to get. Kanye was trying to get the feeling of this welcome and this association with the people that he valued as higher than himself,
that he looks up to. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Sway's talking about the logistics of getting the money. He's like, you're already Kanye West. You got millions of fans. You got your own website. You got your own design team, blah, 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 blah. You can just do it. And Kanye's basically like, but no, that's not going to feel like Ralph Lauren saying that I'm the shit. I need that feeling. So what you're talking about, Sway, ain't going to do it. I need to feel like that. And once we stop feeling that we need to feel accredited by our oppressors and their friends, then we can really free ourselves up from this paradigm.
Word.
We've been taught unconsciously that if we unplug from that, you're gonna be poor, you're going to not be successful, then you're gonna die poor, and all of that is not gonna feel good. So yeah, you have to stay on the treadmill of oppression.
And that's another thing. Redefining success, man. You know what I mean? Because what the fuck is successful to them? You know what I'm saying? We're taking on their meanings of everything, their culture, their everything. And now we think it's successful to have a big car and a big house and a bunch of money, and that's what success is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. To me, success is doing what you want to do, right? As an individual. Now there's a, and that same principle collectively. The question is, what do you want to do?
Word.
So if you want to be a beachcomber and you lay out on the beach and that's what you do, that's successful.
Yeah. I feel you, man.
But then you have to strip yourself from the idea of being understood as successful by other people, because they don't want what you want. And so now we don't know what the hell we want, and what we think we want ain't shit. We don't want enough. But in that paradigm, it's slippery, because in the capitalistic paradigm, it'll never be enough, because then the game will be over.
Yeah, it'll never be enough. You'll never have enough. It'll never
be enough.
You got to just keep me, pushing away, me.
Yeah. You get $5 million. They're gonna say, well, shit, that ain't enough, because the government gonna take half of that.
Yeah.
And then
now you gotta sustain your lifestyle that way. You can't live lower than that, man. You gotta
no. So now you need 10 million, and then you'll never have enough.
Yeah. So what you're saying about doing what you love, man, that's key. And what is it that you love? So shout out to my brother Mark Fox Jr., man. He was on the podcast for episode 13. Everybody check it out. He's a purpose coach, man. So what he does is, he helps you find your purpose, helps you find what you love, what you're here for. You know what I'm saying? So he basically comes through and he speaks to you, and he finds out there's always something that we're very talented at, you know what I'm saying? And there's something that we really love. And, he helps you come through the middle, and to be able to live and do what you love, man. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. So definitely everybody check out episode 13 if you get a chance. But yo, I want to get back to your music, my brother. I want to get back to your music. And
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit about how you got into music, how you got into hip hop. Were you
Yeah.
were you first a DJ or were you first an MC?
Right.
And how'd you link up with Dead Prez, man?
Well, growing up for a few years in my childhood, my mom worked at a record store. And so, and my mom is an avid fan of music. I mean, if I call my mom right now, she's got music on in like damn near every room of her house. Like, and she might be cooking or cleaning up or something right now. But so I grew up in that kind of household. My mom used to also do hair. And when she wasn't in the salon, she was doing hair at home, and she'd be playing records, and then she might have chemicals and shit on and gloves on. And then when it came time to flip the record, she needed somebody to flip the record. I would flip the record, that side of the record would play. Then it became time to put another record on. It went from her telling me what record to put on to me knowing the catalog so crazy that I would select what record to put on or select which songs to play on whatever side of the record. And I didn't know then, but really I was selecting. I was basically,
Right.
as an 8-year-old, I was DJing. Fast forward, I went to college. My mom had moved from vinyl to CDs, and she had all those records. And I had some DJ buddies at the time. I went to school with DJ Drama,
Okay.
a few other like legendary DJs that I really liked. And I was like, yo, give me them records. So I went to Chicago, I grabbed all the vinyl. And then one birthday of mine, she got me a turntable and a mixer. And then I think I got the other turntable or something like that.
So,
And then I built my collection. Cause so then I was like the youngest, like old school soul DJ, because I didn't have no hip hop records. These are all my mom's records.
yeah.
And so I would pull up in college just doing my little sets, you know what I'm saying, of that type of shit. Roy Ayers, James Brown, you know, all type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved when I finished college, I moved to back to Chicago, and I had a good buddy at a record store that would just bless me with all type of things. Like I come in the door and he'd be like, yo, you need this, you need that, you need that. They didn't even have a listening station. So I just built my catalog on top of the hip hop that I had gotten into really heavy as an MC in college. So when I moved back at like 21 years old to Chicago, I was an MC and I was a DJ, and I just built my record collection. I'm an open format DJ. I play all types of stuff, you know what I mean? To the point where I don't even call myself a DJ per se anymore. I'm a sound shaman.
Word.
You know what I mean? And so, so I started as, with the vinyl as a quote unquote DJ. And then I got older and I started MCing in college. And then once I moved from college in Atlanta to Chicago. And then I moved from Chicago back to Atlanta. And when I moved back to Atlanta, Stic from Dead Prez had moved from Brooklyn to Atlanta. I was already connected with the brothers from community work that I was doing with Chairman Omali Yeshatella and Impedum, the Who movement and stuff. I was working with Fred Hampton Jr. and his mom, Akua. And so we were already connected. So I would come to New York and I would build with M1 and I would stay with M1. My wife at the time was friends with his girl. And then when I moved back to Atlanta, it was natural for me to just link in with Stic. Our sons went to the same school, African-centered all-boys school called Sankofa. Me and Stic got tighter. I started going on the road. I was doing merchandise for Dead Prez, and then an opportunity arose 18 years ago to become the DJ, and I was ready, and I was already a DJ, and the rest is history.
Word. That's what's up, man. Yeah, when you speak about, you know, being a sound shaman and, you know, playing all types of music, I got I learned a few dope songs from you, man, from just listening to the different shit that you play, man. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah, that's what it's for.
So I mean, recently I've been listening to you know, Horace Silver, Soul Searching. That's the joint you put me on. That you put me on to that, man.
That's
I love that joint,
right
man. I love that joint, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But so yeah, so you started MCing in college, and then did the DJ thing. But and then when did you start dropping your solo work as an MC? When did that begin?
So I put out a series of mixtapes in like the earlier, like 2005 or so, up to like 2008. I put out a series of mixtapes called Fly Fresh and Responsible.
Because the first time, I don't mean to cut you up. The first time I heard you was when I saw the video of forget the name of the track. It was like you had an upside down American flag burning.
Oh, that was My God.
Yeah, My God. That joint was so dope, man. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the that joint was dope, man. So
I
had gotten that video and I downloaded it because I was still living. No, I forget where I was at, but anyway, I downloaded it and I brought it back to Cuba because in Cuba, like 10 years ago, we didn't have internet access like that. You know what I'm saying? So we had to bring in whatever we could. So I would download a bunch of videos when I would go somewhere. And I had downloaded your video and we were bumping that shit out in Cuba. People were like, "Oh, that shit is crazy."
Oh, that's dope. That made me feel really good. So that was that song, and a few others are from Fly Fresh and Responsible. Those were mixtapes. And then I think Volume 2 was hosted by M1. And then so I did the mixtape thing for a minute, just killing takeovers. You know what I'm saying? And I will perform them in the shows with DPs and stuff. And then I recorded my first studio album called The Prince of Power with producer Tony Baines. And then that's out. But then I took a hiatus from my solo stuff for a few years, maybe like 5 years or so, because I was doing work with my brother Devin Lee, aka Buttermilk, and we had a group called Royal.
Welcome to the Limit. Oh, okay. So you first had
it was Royal first, and now it's Welcome to the Limit. You're on it. Yeah, it's Welcome to the Limit. And so I really was pushing that. And then my man Lex Boogie from the Bronx, we had been saying that we was gonna work, and we had some projects that we wanted to do in like 2005, but I just had so much going on. And then he had a fire in his studio, and then by the time we reconnected, it just seemed like the perfect time. So we did The Blackest Matter, and we ended up changing the name after we put it out to TBM, because I didn't want for me, The Blackest Matter was about more about black holes in space. You know what I mean? And matter and that form of material. And so it's kind of esoteric in a sense, for lack of a better term. But people kept asking me, was it like a Black Lives Matter thing? And I was like, this is not that. You know what I mean? So
was that the one that Power, the video Power, was that from that?
That was on The Blackest Matter. And then I was living in New York, and then COVID shit, that whole fiasco. And then from COVID, man, I did like 6 or 7 albums during COVID. And then we just kept it going. So Lex and I have 3 volumes of Stay Dangerous.
Yeah.
We have Equinox, we have Interface, and now we have Shadow Band that's out right now. Yep. And then my brother Ty Upgrade, we have our Dogon album, we have Forest Frolics, which is like a LSD trip. And then we're working on a project right now called Indigenous Genius. But currently, in addition to Shadow Band out, one of my young boys out of Cali, Don't Talk to Me, we have an album out right now called 180 UGs micrograms. So it's a psychedelic trip.
Okay.
A black power psychedelic trip.
Okay.
So yeah, I just got stuff.
No
I
doubt.
did a project with Unseen FM. It was a SoundCloud exclusive out of DC. It's called Forward. It's a lot of drum and bass, kind of like dubstep drum and bass shit. It's super dope, but it only came out on SoundCloud. And yeah, so I create and we just put it out. As an independent artist, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want to.
Yeah, no doubt. So your latest is Shadow Band.
Yeah.
I got that joint, and you got the joint with Saba the Goddess on there, right?
Oh yeah,
man.
The title
shout
track.
out to her, man. Much respect.
Yeah,
she's a
beast.
dope MC, man. Shout out to her. And then you forgot to mention, man, you got that Shango album.
Oh, I got Shango and
I got
Ogun.
that because I'm a son of Shango, man. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I'm Afro-Cuban, so the Ifa is heavy over there. And my uncle was a Babalawo and all that. So as soon as you dropped that, I caught that. I was like, oh, I gotta get that, man.
Yeah. Me and Lex, we did that. I was studying as I'm saying, I got so many projects. I was studying warrior gods, warrior spirits, and I used to take African martial art, Egbe Ogun, which is a full system, clinch, ground, weapons, stand up, everything, and started learning that and the stories of the Ifa legends, and then actually, the Shango album is one of my favorites too.
It's dope, man. It's dope. You broke it down. Also, how you break down the story of Shango. That's dope.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites, man. So yeah, I'm happy that united with the culture there, because that the deity is. The Shango deity is the most popular because of the revolutionary spirit throughout the Middle Passage. And those drums still communicate to the warriors, whether they were in bondage or not. And that's why Shango is revered, so prevalent throughout the diaspora, Cuba included. So
Brazil, everywhere. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. For sure. But now, I at times Shango still has my head, but I haven't been moving toward more Obatala energy.
Okay.
And I live here in Miami Beach, Florida now, and the Sky Father is talking to me a little more, and I feel like I'm more calm.
This year, because every year, in Cuba, they get together and they have like a letter of the year for the Ifa, you know what I'm saying? And this year, Obatala came out. So Obatala is reigning this year, man. So it's crazy you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So I still got cut a motherfucker head, but but right now I am experiencing and practicing my wisdom and being more calm in my movements, and not because I learned, we're supposed to learn from our ancestors. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to burn up the whole house. I don't want to burn up the whole hillside. I have to be careful in how my emotions and my feelings ignite certain fires in me. I'm already a Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying? I got the fire. Word. So sometimes you need that, just like in the story of Ogun. Ogun was fighting for his village, first king of the Oyo, fighting for his village, and then was ridiculed because he had blood all over him, was drinking from the fountain, and was ridiculed by his own people. And he got so enraged. That's what they call Ogun. It's like Marvel ripped him. It's like the Incredible Hulk. You know what I'm saying? He got so enraged and killed his own folks, and was really, he felt really bad and ashamed. So he killed himself with his own sword and buried himself underground, but he left that iron chain above ground. So whenever you need to summon that iron, that warrior spirit, you can pull that chain of Ogun. The same with Shango. When I want to access that fire, you know, when I'm on the microphone or when I'm at a show, or, you know, I can still pull that. You know, I got a Shango shrine in my place for my grandmother. My grandmother's, she didn't know it, but Shango all day long. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But now at 47 years old, it's better for me to practice my wisdom and seek to understand versus being understood. And I'm just in a different space as I'm growing into my eldership. And so, yeah, but it's all wonderful and it's all beautiful because we are all everything at the same time. It's different points in our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. More power to you, my brother.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So listen, man, this has been dope, man. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Before we roll out, man, I like to do this thing here at Vital Hoops, man, where we like to recommend a book, man. Too many times, especially today, man, in these days, we tend to just get our information from a short clip that we seen, you know what I'm saying, or a little YouTube video or something like that, and then we think we know something. But I feel like it's important to read from books, man. You know what I'm saying? I think it's very important, especially for us African people.
Yeah.
So if there's any good book that you'd like to recommend to the listeners, man.
Well, currently out right now, I would recommend Stic's book, The 5 Principles. That's out right now. Get that.
Yeah. Much respect to Stic, man. And Prez, I've been following the whole RBG movement as well.
Yeah. I would say definitely get that. And then there's a classic that personally has been a favorite of mine, and it was really instrumental in me refining my worldview with the continent of Africa per se, specifically. And that is The Destruction of a Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. If you ever confused on why Africa looks the way it does today, why say Egypt, if you want to know why Egypt has gone from black to brown to white, if you want to know about the Moorish invasions, the sub-Saharan slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, if you want to know about our glorious history prior to those oppressions and those oppressive movements, that's laid out, and that's the good one. Also, The Blueprint for Black Power by Dr. Charles Jones is really good too. So yeah, those are good,
no doubt.
3.
And to add to that, what you were talking about, I would also add how Europe underdeveloped Africa from Walter Rodney.
Yes.
That one's also in that line. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's a good one.
And I'm gonna go with because I'm on my Kwame Nkrumah these days, man.
Of course. Guerrilla warfare.
Yeah. I've been reading neo-colonialism, so I want to recommend today. I speak of freedom, Kwame Nkrumah. Speak of freedom. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. Ooh, Ashe. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's that, man. Listen, Mikeflo, thank you, my brother. Before you go, man, please let the listeners know where they can, follow your work, check you out, all that. And if you have any last words, it's all you, my brother.
Yeah, I would say visit mikeflo.com, Mikeflo.com. There's no W in Mikeflo. So Mikeflo.com. Mikeflo.com houses all of my music. They all have Spotify hyperlinks and stuff. And I chose Spotify because it's like the most popular of the streaming, but we're on all of the platforms: Tidal, Apple Music, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, all of them. My bio's there and everything. But what will be coming there, God willing, on the spring equinox of this year will be Mikeflo Radio. Dope. So I'm starting a radio station, and my Instagram handle is at Mikeflo, Mikeflo _official. And all of my my Mixcloud. If anything you don't get from my website, you'll be able to find there, and my direct me links and all of that. Today, well, I know, well, whenever people see this, but look out for my impromptu Twitch sets. I do impromptu stuff at night, and then I do lazy afternoons on Sundays when I'm in town or wherever I am. If I can do them, I do those. I'm about to do one in a minute. And yeah, I would just say, man, you know, keep your mind free and realize the power of the now. You know, yesterday has already happened, and this idea of tomorrow is predicated on how you treat right now. And to remember that people may not understand that. You may be seen as idealistic. It may seem revolutionary. It may seem unrealistic. But the power of the now is all we really have. The future is just a collection of nows. You know what I mean? So synthesize your victories. Don't romanticize the idea of this future, and just know that the momentum that you are creating right now will enhance this idea of the future and this idea of tomorrow. It starts with right now. And just remember, man, it ain't dead. They just scared. And those are my words.
Word.
All right.
I appreciate you, my brother.
Man, let's stay connected. And
no doubt. Let's do that, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sending you stuff and all of that.
All right? Oh, one last thing, man.
Yeah,
I want to send you some. I forgot to say a word on your artwork, man, which I really appreciate, yo. And listen, my I see you've been doing some real dope paintings, man. And you know, my father, he was a great sculptor, man.
Wow.
So if you like sculpture, I'd like to send you a catalog of my pops too, man. That'd be dope. So you can.
Oh, I would love that, and I'll send you a painting.
Oh man, that's beautiful. I appreciate that, man. I'm about to move into a new apartment too, so that's perfect.
Yeah, that's my word. I'm gonna bless you with something.
Oh man, good lookings, man. I appreciate it. Bro.
So let's stay in radio. Let's stay connected. We fam now, so it's nothing we can't do.
No doubt, we do that, man. And next time you come through France, or if you go to Cuba, you let me know, man, for sure. We link up, man.
And that's real close to me too. So I've been talking about that. So
anybody,
any comrades on the ground over there that can help me and greet me will be great.
For sure, man. For sure. Lots of family and close friends, man. I'm with we got Guerrilla Republic Cuba over there, man.
Yeah.
So we working. So we working, and my cousin and I have a hip hop group, and all that. So we definitely link up, man.
Yes, sir.
Stay in touch. All right, my brother.
Love.
Peace.
Power.
All right. This was episode number 23. A lot of jewels for y'all to take in. Listen, you gotta listen to this one a couple times. You gotta share it with your loved ones. You know what I mean? You gotta share it with your enemies too, because they gotta understand. They gotta overstand. You feel me? But please, yes, continue to support the VOTAL HOOPS Podcast. We appreciate you. We appreciate the brother Mikeflo. Everybody go to mikeflo.com. Make sure you check out all his links. Everything is going to be down in the description, so check that out. Please like, share, subscribe. And you already know our VOTAL HOOPS official website is coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. And keep on checking out the VOTAL HOOPS Podcast. We appreciate you. Peace.